now, and that is, did you ever wonder why there are no elephants in Europe? It's a pretty weird question, right? Because, I mean, we all know that elephants live in Africa and in Asia. That's why we're all here today. But if you, or at least in Kruger National Park, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find it's actually a pretty interesting question, more than would be apparent at first glance. Because Europe actually used to have elephants, and they used to have elephants for a really long time as well, around 14 million years. Now, 14 million years is a really long time. So let's try an analogy to make it a little bit more understandable. If we take 14 million years ago until today, and we divide that up in 1 hour, the very first second of that hour, elephants enter Europe. Modern humans only appear 13 seconds before the end of that hour. The last elephant in Europe dies 3 seconds before the end. So elephants have actually been living in Europe for a really long time. Most species that live in Europe today have been living longer with elephants than they have been with humans. So why are they no longer there today? Well, the short answer is probably humans. There's more and more evidence that shows that as humans migrated out of Africa, the world lost most of its elephant species. So the fact that we have elephants in Africa today, but not in Europe, is not a fundamental law of nature, but rather it is an artifact of the human impact on this world. Now, why should you worry about it? Why should we care about elephants that have disappeared a few thousand years ago? Well, the interesting thing about elephants is that they can actually have really big impacts on the ecosystems in which they live. Ecologically speaking, elephants are a little bit like bulldozers. They trample anything, they can topple anything, they can break anything. And you can actually see that really well in Kruger National Park. There are many trees that you will see that have been pushed over, have been broken. And this might seem really destructive, but actually it can be a good thing. In doing so, they create a more open landscape, and many species depend on that. If you have a woodland, and an elephant creates a clearing, suddenly sunlight can reach the forest floor and seeds can germinate. Similarly, in Europe, which tends to be a little bit colder than over here, these woodland glades can be really important for insects, as they are sheltered from the wind, but still have the sunlight to regulate their body temperature. So now imagine that you have an ecosystem like the European ecosystem that has had elephants for millions of years, and suddenly they disappear without replacement. Does that have any ecological consequences? And do we still see some of those consequences today? That is what my colleagues and I are trying to figure out. But elephants are not really unique. When Europe lost its elephants, it also lost its lions, its hyenas, its hippos, its giant deer. And every time one of those species went extinct, a little piece of that ecosystem disappeared. And neither was Europe unique. We see a very similar story in North America, South America, Asia, and even Australia. And I find it really sad that few people actually know this today, that few people know that even a place like Europe was once as majestic as Kruger National Park. So before I step down from this platform, I want to leave you with two thoughts. The first one is this: next time that you are home, wherever that may be, the Western Cape, Europe, America, have a look around and try to imagine what the world used to look like, or might have looked like, if elephants were still around. And secondly, if you go out in the park today or tomorrow and you use a look to see an elephant, really take the time to appreciate how unique that encounter really is. And please remember that elephants once almost covered the entire world and are now only remaining in these last strongholds like Kruger National Park. Thank you very much.